Hello, João.
Hey, Madalena, how are you?
I'm fine, and you?
I'm fine, thanks. Everyone, welcome to the 46th Above and Beyond Hangout. My name is João Moreira Pires. I'm your host here in Lisbon. Over in Porto, we have Madalena Cardoso. How's everything?
Everything is great. The room is super packed. Like, we have so many people standing up, so thank you very much for coming. It's super dark outside, it's super cold, but I think the Hangout will go very well because it's cozy inside, and we're super excited. So for the first time, we will have a remote ecosystem briefing. So live from Brussels, let me present our Executive Director, Miguel Aguiar.
So, can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes, Miguel.
Thank you. Thank you, Madalena. And hello, everyone, and welcome to the Above and Beyond Hangout number 46. My name is Miguel Aguiar, and I'm the Executive Director of Startup Portugal. Today, I'm speaking to you live from Brussels, the capital of the European Union, where Startup Portugal is representing our ecosystem in the ESNA Forum. ESNA is the Europe Startup Nations Alliance. And the ESNA Forum serves as a high-level platform to access progress and renew Europe's ambition to empower its startups as the cornerstone of competitiveness and sustainable growth. Today, our meetings and conversations here couldn't have been more productive, and we will have tonight and tomorrow ahead to help build a better Europe for startups. Now, coming back to our ecosystem, Web Summit passed through, and what a success it was. Today, thank you all for being there and help us make the best stand Portugal deserves. What's next? That's what we're in this Hangout to discuss. And speaking about what's next, are you an early bird? Because we've just announced our SIM conference early bird tickets. It's a great deal, great value for money, so don't miss it. In Porto on May 14th and 15th, it's your chance to make real connections. Just head on to simconf.com. Also, big news just in. We're ready to prepare you to expand to the United States with a brand new program titled Scaled Up Now. As Alex and I said, you should know when to expand to the United States, not just go too early. This is the program to help connect you to the American ecosystem, whether you are a startup, an incubator, an innovation-driven company, or an investor. Check the program on our website and make sure to register for free. And speaking of good programs, let me just tell you about Nexo Summit. From our friends at Startup Portugal Partners, happening at Fábrica Vasco da Gama in Matosinhos from today till Friday. Entrepreneurs, investors, students, and visionaries will gather for talks, showcases, and networking where business, leaderships, and tech converge. André Costa Magalhães, Ange General Director, will speak a little bit about the event before the pitches. Lastly, and before we begin, let me just get your attention for something coming up later today. In your network moment, with the help of our friends at APVP and Unicorn Factory Gaming Hub, we are again hosting two gaming demo stations, one in Lisboa and another one in Porto. Today in Lisboa, we have Loading Studios showcasing the game Alentejo Tinto's Law, and in Porto, Meia Calça, with their games Panthalassa. Let's give them a round of applause, and afterwards, let's go to know them. And thank you, our team here in Brussels. Thank you for the round of applause for the APVP and the Unicorn Factory Game Hub. Our team here in Brussels and myself will continue to see everything from here. And André, the floor is yours before a warm-up pitches of today.
Thank you, Miguel.
Hi, everyone. Hi, I'm Miguel. Hi, everyone, back in Lisbon. And first of all, thank you, amazing team from Startup Portugal, for allowing us just to make a small invitation to all of you. So as Miguel was saying, just tomorrow and the day after, so on Friday, we are going to have our next summit. And basically what we have is just an event, a platform that will try to gather the entrepreneurial ecosystem and as well a floor for SMEs in Portugal generally. We are going to have a lot of talks, panel discussions, a lot of interviews with founders, with entrepreneurs that are nowadays some of the main experts in different areas. But basically, just to show you, we are going to take over on this place, which is a former fabric for, I don't know how to say, cans for, sardines as well, and many others, which was recovered, and nowadays is going to be our stage for an amazing program that is going from talent refresh to culture and leadership. We are talking about the growth and scaling for companies, and mostly on first day. And on the second day, we have on investment, internationalization, on new economies. We are going to talk about AI, about cryptocurrencies, and many other topics. And I'm very glad to say that we have amazing people coming on board. You know many of them, like Liana Pinho from First Speak, who was awarded like 1 month, 2 months ago from your one of programs together with Unicorn Factory. We have Patricia Costa, Inês Silva, people from the ecosystem, Hugo Vols, Nuno Prego, Alexandre Mendes, and many, many other people, Luís Batalha, or Inês Odila, so many people that are coming just to share knowledge. So it's a free event. It's happening from early morning. Tomorrow is, so we are all invited until 5 in the afternoon. And on Friday, it's starting at 9:30, and it's also finishing at 5. So I'm just inviting you to come along. This is for us to mingle, to get together, and most of all to learn with each other. And so I hope to see you guys there. And thank you for creating this amazing ecosystem that we have, not only here in Portugal, but all over the country, back in Lisbon as well. So thank you everyone for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, André. Thank you very much, Miguel. Hope you have a nice days in Brussels. So before we start, I would like to mention that we have the next big idea, recording some videos today. So make sure to give your biggest smiles and at least pretend you're happy, okay? So everyone in our social media sees how cool these Hangouts are. So with no further ado, let me call to the stage our first startup. So I'll call Ricardo Danagil to pitch the O. A round of applause.
Hi everyone. My name is Ricardo Daniel Gil. I'm the CTO of CyberX, and today I'm going to introduce you the DO. But let's make things first. Let's introduce our team. We are for 6 people that developed the DO, and we start with our co-founders that are more than 12 years of experience in cybersecurity. And this year, I start with the team, and I'm the CTO, and I have a team that developed the DO. And I want to make a question with you guys. What if the next terrorist attack, extremist movement, or children exploitation network could be stopped the day before it happened? We see this kind of news every day in the social media, and we only see that because it happened. And imagine if we could predict that, and we developed the DO. DO is an AI platform that scale and bring everything in social media that stop or predict a cyber attack or a terrorist attack or everything else. Do you know if someone of your family is abused today? Maybe not. And DO is this platform that you put the name and you search every platform and bring every public information of the person and bring it to a surface. Let's watch a video, explain better.
In a world where physical threats are ever evolving, being proactive is no longer a choice. It's a necessity. Introducing the O, an AI-driven platform that collects data from multiple sources and calculates the probability of physical threats before they become a reality. From potential terrorist attacks to mass gatherings, the O analyzes real-time data, giving governments and intelligence agencies the power to act early. With features like multilingual search, detailed reporting, and the ability to identify high-risk individuals and messages with the highest engagement, the O delivers unmatched insights. Whether protecting large events or securing national interests, the O empowers decision-makers with the foresight to prevent incidents before they happen. The O by CyberX. When information matters most, stay one step ahead. CyberX. Years of experience protecting the digital world, and now the physical one.
So let's talk about our revenue model. We are a SaaS platform that start really cheap compared to our competitors. We are from 300 per month and give you access to all these features that you saw. So we feel like a simple step in our platform, we will start to use like searching in the deep web, the Surface, the Discord, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and everything else. We know that the cybersecurity now is have the most, I think, investment today. So we are in a blue ocean. And that's why we think about raising money for our platform, because we need this money to have more capability to have a competitors like Palantir. Palantir, as an example, I don't know if you know, but they are expensive, like very expensive, and also difficult to deploy. And they're always very simple, fast, and quick. It's like you make I think that you log in a simple way, different than Palantir that need to bring someone to your company and produce a new contract and difference the dual. In a simple like steps, you are available everything in our platform. So why you need that? Why our next steps? We need to improve our connections, we improve our AI, we improve our team, and that's we are raising 200,000. So yeah, 200,000 for every penny. We have already like our team and everything else that I need to run it up. Let's finish with a phrase like, let's use intelligence to protect what are the most important people. So thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Ricardo. If you have any questions for him over in Porto, just find them in the end during the networking moment. And now, to pitch here in Lisbon, please welcome Afonso Ravasco from Trash for Good. Come on, round of applause for the man.
Okay, so hello everyone, hello people in Porto. First time I'm doing this, so yeah, so let's get to it. Hello everyone, my name is Afonso Ravasco and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Trash for Good. So first of all, we just wanted to start with something which is nowadays more than 10 billion products are entering the markets as we speak. And unfortunately, not every single one of them is ending up in the correct recycling bin. Despite advances in corporate responsibility, we are still at the verge of a waste management crisis because we are only recycling 14% of our plastics worldwide, and in Portugal specifically, 60% of our urban waste is ending up in landfills. So this gives you an idea of the challenge that we had ahead of ourselves. So this is why Trash for Goods was created. So we are building a gamification app that brings value to your waste. And we are bridging the gap between brands and consumers at a very crucial moment, when the product is consumed and the packaging is empty. This allows the user with the Trash for Goods app to scan any barcode of the product, and you'll learn immediately where to recycle and how to recycle, and the best part, you're getting rewarded for recycling. And how we do this is we're giving points that can later be traded for different types of prizes in our marketplace. Now, you might be thinking, okay, this is another recycling app. Well, not exactly. In fact, we want you to look at us more as a data-driven company, because each scan that we collect from the barcodes, it's a two-in-one for consumer brands. On the one hand, we are closing the product lifecycle loop of these companies. So we can trace the quantity of and quantify the amount of plastic or the packaging that is being recycled anywhere at any time. And since we're bridging brands and consumers, it's also a great way and a no-brainer to foster loyalty programs and ensure that and reinforce consumer retention as well. So to scale this entire operation, we need to be working with smart bin companies and recycling bin companies to integrate our software inside their hardware, to be completely hardware agnostic. That's why we already have 4 major partnerships with some of the top players in Europe. This also allows us to connect trash for goods to municipalities, and each recycling bin acts as a sort of a data collection point for us in this case. So, in terms of business model, we are operating in a traditional SaaS model. We charge a subscription to use our T4G Analytics dashboard, and we are selling this directly to brands. But we also have a B2G business where we work with municipalities, mainly to license our APIs and also some integrations with the app for municipalities. So in terms of traction so far, we have right now 2,000 users using our app. We have 40,000 recycling bins registered in the app, which covers 60% of the Portuguese territory. And until this day, we have collected 3 tons of waste. But that's not all. Just around the corner, we have our first major municipality project with the city of Cascais. And the goal here is to prepare the city for the new upcoming European legislation for urban waste and for municipalities. And we'll be targeting 36,000 residents, and with the goal to decrease by 50% the general waste production in the city. So, of course, we're not doing this alone. And this is the amazing and the dream team behind Trash for Goods, also with some of our advisors in the waste management space and also in the retail space as well. So, as we like to end everything, this is the future of recycling, and the next time you're going to recycle, don't forget to use the Trash for Goods app. Thank you so much.
Yes? Okay. Yes. Thank you very much, Afonso. If you want to know more about Trash for Goods, find him in the networking or at LinkedIn. So now let's move on to our panel discussion. Today we'll be talking about what's next for Portugal's startup ecosystem. So let me welcome to the stage Filipa Pinto Carvalho, Adriana Costa, and Alex Santos. A round of applause, please. What about in Lisbon, João?
So here in Lisbon, I will ask to join us Manuel Caldeira Cabral, and to moderate it will be myself. Sorry, no further surprises today. Manuel, come on up on stage. A round of applause for him. Please take a seat. And let me change into my moderation notes. It's a different document. So hello everyone. Hi there in Porto. Filipa, Adriana, and Alex. I hope you are all doing very well this afternoon. Let me introduce you all very briefly. So Alex is the president of Startup Portugal and general partner at the early stage VC firm Chameleon in the US. Filipa is Startup Portugal vice chair of the general meeting, vice president of Ange, co-founder of Redbridge Lisbon, Here Partners, and AGPC. That must be a lot of work, I believe. Adriana is one of the leading voices for incubators in Portugal. She's a member of Startup Portugal's Incubex Forum, Startup Portugal's Strategic Council, and since 2018, CEO of the Aveiro University Incubator, which is a member of the National Incubator Network that is managed by Startup Portugal. And Manuel Caldeira Cabral, here in Lisbon, former Minister of the Economy, member of the Portuguese Parliament, university professor, and president of Startup Portugal's Strategic Council. I feel dwarfed in such company, so I hope the room is with me in the will to learn from all of them. What are we here to do today? It's simple yet complicated. We want to understand the direction of entrepreneurship in Portugal for the next few years, what is changing, what needs to change, and how different actors can work together. We'll explore the current strategy for entrepreneurship, funding, talent, regulatory impact, internationalization, and the unique role of public-private collaboration that makes things like this possible. I will start with the same question for the four of you, maybe starting in Porto with Filipe and then passing along and finishing here in Lisbon with Manuel. So over the past year, we've seen a lot of important milestones being achieved here in Portugal, including we've surpassed 5,000 startups identified in the country. That's a really good and relevant milestone from my perspective. But from your perspective, what does this moment represent? And can we consider that this is the beginning of the ecosystem entering a new phase? Filipe, the floor is yours. Just 1 minute,
Hi.
Each of you.
Hi, João and Manel and everyone over there in Lisbon. Yes, for sure. I think we are definitely in a new stage of the ecosystem. It's no longer about only affirmation, but about expansion as well. And if we look at all the international investors and founders, also more mature companies and scale-ups looking to the Portuguese ecosystem and deciding that they want to launch their startup here, invest in the good quality projects that we have, it's certainly very revealing for me of this new stage. And also when we look at the institutions like Startup Portugal, Ange, and others, I would say it's very revealing that we see now that internationalization is on everyone's agenda, which means that we are no longer only working to help founders build their startups, but we want to help them scale and connect with new markets.
Thank you so much. Adriana, your take on this, please.
I think that the number of startups that we see and that we deal nowadays reflects the vitality of the ecosystem. I've been in this ecosystem from a long time ago, and we can see the difference nowadays from 10 years or 20 years ago. And we know that this reflects the policies and the programs that have been implemented in Portugal. Since Web Summit, new foreign startups, all the ecosystem has been growing. And all these new startups and all these startups, they bring more human resources to the system, more technology, more innovation to develop our regions and our ecosystem. So I think we are really in a new stage, okay? This new stage is more a collaborative stage, a quality stage, international scale, like Filipe said, and an specialization stage. So I think that the needs of the startups nowadays and the incubators and all the stakeholders of our system, they need to work and to support the entrepreneurs in a different way, more specialized, with more quality, internationalization, more community, more involvement with universities, with industry, more talent, retain talent, to train talent. So the challenges are a lot. We grow, but we still have a long way to go.
Thank you so much, Adriana. Alex?
First of all, it's a pleasure to be here today. I've been in the startup scene for 14 years now. Back in the day, we knew everybody, right? We knew all the founders. We only had a few in Portugal. All the investors and the incubators that were starting. I started as a business angel, learning the ropes, romantically investing in founders that had only dreams and first version of their PowerPoints. And at the time, we didn't have more than 40 million euros per year being invested into startups in Portugal. And if you would try to make a list of 100 startups, it would be hard to close that list. Fast forward to today, we have 7 unicorns that were born in Portugal, built by founders that are Portuguese. We have 40 unicorns that set their operations in Portugal and are working from Portugal to the world. And we have more than 400 million euros per year being invested into startups. So a lot has happened, and out of the more than 5,000 startups that we reported at Web Summit that exist actively in the market, 70% were born in the last 5 years. So there's clearly a compounding effect that is happening. We have more and more repeat founders, founders that had several degrees of success and now are either creating new companies or becoming investors as well and helping other younger founders to launch their stuff. And that's what we need. We need this to happen more and more so that we actually have a even more vibrant ecosystem. I think we still have gaps. We need to have a lot more potential founders becoming founders. So at the base, we need to do a lot more in convincing people to take the plunge. And we need to do what Felipe referred. We need to take these companies out there to the world and connect us better to the world. I think Portugal is still not well connected to what's happening at a global scene. And that's still a missing link that I think we need to work on.
Thank you, Alex. And now back to Lisbon, to you, Manuel. Your take on this.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Porto, and this room. Is a pleasure to be here. I think that the system has evolved a lot. When I started with João Vasconcelos in 2016, and we were launching the Startup Portugal program, we tried to identify the number, but there was no way of knowing the number of startups. But the number was always close to 1,000 or less than 1,000 or some hundreds. And it depended a lot because a lot of incubators included a lot of small firms that were not real startups. But the system was quite small. There were no unicorns. The investments of 1 million were quite rare. And the system had a lot of room to grow. But there was already some investors that wanted to go further. They had little money still, but they wanted to go further. There were already a lot of good entrepreneurs, and some of them had to go abroad. Some of them were starting to come from abroad. And when we launched this program, what we looked was at acting in all parts at the same time, doing everything at the same time. And if you do everything at the same time, you don't do it right, of course. We didn't do everything right, but we did it the best we could with also the means that we have. But our notion was that if we are going to stimulate a lot of entrepreneurship, and then we will have much more entrepreneurs, but we didn't have the venture capital to sustain them, we were going to create a lot of frustration. And if we did just the opposite, put money into the problem, but without stimulating the entrepreneurs, we'll have the opposite effect. We'll have money to invest and probably bad investments, and we'll give bad name to the ecosystem. So we had to work with the entrepreneurs, work with venture capital, leverage venture capital, but we also had to work with the ecosystem, with the incubators, making a network of incubators. And in those days, there were incubators that were already quite good, a few, but there were a lot of incubators that were just spaces a bit on adrift. And we had to work with that. In those days, I remember having a lot of people patronizing us, saying, yes, these are young guys with a lot of good energy. Yes, you should give support to them, but don't expect anything to come from these guys. It's not here that the economy is going to grow. And I think 10 years later, when we see the amount of jobs created, when we see the value of our unicorns, but not just unicorns, the ones that are pre-unicorn, but are already worth 50 million, 100 million, 200 million. When you look at these and you see that in 2022, they were worth 18% of the GDP of Portugal, it's not irrelevant. And when you look at a lot of these firms that were SMEs or some didn't even exist, like Sword Health and a lot of others, that now are worse, their value is above the value of any private bank in Portugal. You can see that we went a long way, and I think when we talk with the bankers today, we have a completely different conversation. And I remember seeing this in Davos in 2016 and 2017, that the same bankers that were like not looking at startups in a real way 10 years later were now looking at old startups that now were unicorns or something more, almost with fear that they would buy them and transform the whole business. So it's like the system didn't change a bit, it changed a lot, and I think it changed the country with it. And that is a very important thing. The image that we put out of the country with Web Summit, and now we had the 10th WEN Summit, with the startups, with the unicorns, it's a completely different image of Portugal. And today we don't have to explain outside of Portugal that there is an ecosystem, that there is a vibrant startup scene in Portugal. But this also changed the image inside. I think now we have to use this more mature ecosystem and put it to work, involving more the universities, involving more deep tech, having incubators that are more specialized. I agree totally with that. And being more specialized, they can foster and support the startups in a better way. And also, they must have more and more links with outside incubators to bring investors, but not to bring generic investors, but to bring investors specialized in specific areas to specific incubators, and to make people coming to Portugal with specific objectives and to find that. This is a more mature ecosystem, and more mature ecosystem has to involve the society.
Let me just interrupt you there, because that goes exactly to my next question.
Yeah.
No, it's a perfect segue for the next question, because you were, as you were explaining, very involved in shaping and guiding the national strategy for entrepreneurship, starting Startup Portugal. We're here today because of that work that you started, what, almost 10 years ago now?
It was 10 years ago.
And my question is, looking at this new ecosystem, this reformed ecosystem now, what do you see as the biggest priorities to ensuring an effective environment for growth? So we've kickstarted it. Where should we go for growth? You left a few clues there. And where do you see the greatest risks and bottlenecks at the same time?
I got into government exactly 10 years ago. It was in the 26th of November.
Really?
Yes.
Amazing.
And in the 28th of November, 2 or 3 days, we were still putting shares in our offices. Me and João Vasconcelos had the meeting with Paddy in the ministry, and the ministry is a palace, so he got into the palace, and then we were sitting on boxes because we were still unboxing stuff. And
that is very startup-y for a minister.
It was, and it was really it were interesting times. I think in those days we need to work with venture capital, leverage venture capital. We had to look at incubators. We had to look at internationalization. And I think today we have to look exactly at the same things. But we have to look with a different perspective and to different things as well. We don't need so much, we still need that, but we don't need so much the small investment. We still need to leverage our venture capital funds for them to be able to invest in more small firms, but we need also more and more to invest in later stages and to create capability of investing in later stages. And to do that, we have to involve funds of big firms, funds of pension funds, and so on and so on. We have to have bigger guns, bigger capability of investment, and we have to involve more institutional investors in investing also in startups. To do that, we have to work with our VCs, because I don't think that the institutional investors should invest in one by one kind of cherry picking the startups. They don't have that knowledge, and I don't think they want to do that. They should invest in more structural funds that diversify the risk, but we have to create mechanisms for the money that is there, sometimes being invested in things that don't get much return for the pension funds and so on, to be able to come and be invested in things that can get them more return, that can get the ecosystem bigger leverage, but doing that dispersing risk and without putting the pension funds in levels of risk that they don't they don't want to be in those levels of risk. So it has to be done in a way that doesn't create too much risk here, but that creates volumes of capital that are bigger here. So we have to look at venture capital and do the next step, which is bigger investments. The other thing that we have to do is to work with our incubators and look at accelerating programs that involved international incubators and possibly the best international incubators. That do this link that Miguel was talking about, linking with the United States. Links with the UK or Germany in some areas are also quite interesting. Or even with Sweden in areas like health, or with Dubai these days that is investing a lot in these areas. So we need to reinforce the links, but to include the links in programs of acceleration that are done in a different level. Some incubators already do this, already do good acceleration programs. I think the Road to Web Summit is a good acceleration program at a certain level, but we need to do specific acceleration programs in cooperation with international incubators that have the links to the international investors, because we want to have more leverage in Portugal, but we don't want to replace international investors. In some areas, we need international investors, not just because of the money, but because the knowledge that they have of investing in these areas, and because of the contacts that they have that create credibility for the next steps that the firm have to do. And in areas like biotech, in areas of deep tech, this is quite important because it's long-run investments, have intermediate phases that you need a lot of money, but you need a lot of credibility to get to the money. So this is another thing. Another thing that we still have to do more is to look at legislation and to improve legislation, and I think that is another thing, but it depends a lot on the government being committed with that, but it depends a lot on the ecosystem asking that. And the last thing is looking at the ecosystem and reinforcing the ecosystem. If the ecosystem is more mature, we need to see that in the ecosystem. We need to see that the founders of 10 years ago that didn't have anyone to be their mentors, now are mentors of the new founders. The founders of 10 years ago that made a lot of money now have funds that invest in early stage startups and invest and give them mentoring and so on and so on. And we need to see also that firms that are not startups and never were, like pharmaceutical firms, financial firms, and so on, involved with ecosystems of startups working with them. We need innovation in the financial systems, and that should be done with big firms, with startups. We need innovation and collaborative kind of innovation between universities and pharmaceutical firms and aeronautical firms and engineering firms, and we should do that with startups. So we have to bring more our big firms, industrial and our big firms of services, and join them with startups. And the first thing we have to say to these big firms is, look, again, you're not big in the European contest, you're not big in the world contest, you're mid-sized firms, but if you work with these startups, you may be able to do some jumps, you may be able to push them to do the jump, but do the jump with them as well. Yes. And differentiate what you have. And we need that for the startup's sake, but we need that for our industry and our service base sake as well. Okay. If we don't push them and if they don't have the energy of startups pushing them, they are going to grow slowly and probably die. and that die on the beach. And we don't want that. We want them to grow faster, and growing faster is with the ideas that startup can bring to them. So I think we have to build more this link between industry, services firms, and startups, and also between startups that became unicorns or that became big firms and other startups that are growing and projects. And
Okay, so
I think that is something that I think is a challenge to Startup to Portugal. It's a challenge to some of the incubators, and some of them are already doing that, involving the ecosystem of industrial firms and so on. But it's a challenge also that we have to put in a very clear way to our firms, our established industrial firms, our established service firms, and say to them, don't think that you are okay and you don't need this innovation, because technology can really change the way your business works in 5 years, and you can be a big pile of nothing. Thank you.
what a way to end.
No, it's true.
No, it is.
It's true. Blockbuster didn't want to buy Netflix, and then you know what happened to stores of video, of renting videos.
Thinking of connecting ecosystems and speeding things up. Alex, you have the experience of doing it both here in Portugal and abroad. You're an investor, so I would like to ask you: are we allocating capital to the right sectors? And do you believe that investors, or what do you believe the investors, public and private investors, and you as president of Startup Portugal, would like to see more of in 2026? So are we betting on the right horses, and what should we see next from an investor perspective?
Let me see how I tackle that question. So first of all, in the last 4 years, I've been doing mostly investments in the US, a couple of investments in Asia, and 1 or 2 in Europe. It's a lot easier to invest in the US and to scale companies in the US. And I think Europe has a big challenge. We don't have a single market, although we say we have 450 million consumer market here. In Europe, we're far away from that. So it's actually sad to me to see several companies that I know that were able to grow first in the US, to actually say that I need to still grow a little bit more in the US to then tackle the European market. We all are heavily against the tariffs that Trump is using in a very transactional way to wedge the U.S. economic power out there. But we have a bigger and hidden tariff in Europe. The complexity to actually open business in the different countries in Europe is like a 30 to 40% tariff. And we need to solve our issues first before, besides being against what Trump is doing, right? And there, and what I've seen happening in Europe doesn't give me a lot of hope for the future of what's happening in Europe as a whole. There's a big initiative that is called the 28th article, that regime that would allow for any company that would be created under that regime, it could easily operate in any country of Europe and open up the markets for startups. But it's not gonna be approved soon, and I think it's not gonna be approved as it should be. So what I think any founder should do when trying to build their company is actually go after the markets that are better for what they're trying to do. Depending on the vertical, that can mean going really quickly to the US or to Asia or to a specific country in Europe, and raise capital in those countries where they want to grow their business. I think on the plus side and a more positive side, I think the new wave of innovation that we're seeing now is changing materially the name of the game. So nowadays the ability to create companies with even less barriers than before with the use of the AI and with a higher probability of disrupting all the verticals out there is impressive. We just saw a guy that I actually tried to meet before he sold the company. He was his company only had 3 months when I tried to reach out to him, and he sold after 6 months his company for $600 million, and it was one guy. So we're close to seeing, with the use of AI, the birth of the first unicorns that are launched by a single person. So a lot is changing really rapidly. So when you ask me which verticals we should invest in, I don't have a magic wand, and if I had, I wouldn't share it with you guys because I'm an investor. Right? But of course, what I can say, what I'm investing in. I'm investing in healthcare. I'm investing in gaming and other forms of entertainment. I'm investing in tools and picks and shovels and infrastructure for AI because I think, like the race that we saw when there was a gold race centuries ago, the companies that made more money were the ones that had the picks and the shovels, right? That helped the entrepreneurs of that time try to seek out the gold out there. So that's what I'm investing in. In AI, I'm investing in who's building the right tools for the new companies out there. I think there's a lot of challenges in the market. I think the biggest challenge that me as an investor, any founder out there, incubator, other investors, is the challenge of speed. We need to be a lot faster. The world is really changing really rapidly. We need to be a lot faster. It's not just having great idea, great talent. Is actually executing a lot faster that matters, more and more so. So that's what we're trying to do at Startup Portugal, being a lot faster in helping the founders out there and reaching the markets that they need to reach. Either it's the US, either it's Asia. I just came over from Saudi Arabia, and they want to do things with Portugal. So we should take advantage of that. It's a new market. It's growing. Dubai is growing. The VC market, 55% of the market is still US. It's gonna reduce the weight to like 50% in the next years. When I started investing, Europe represented 25%, and it was growing. Now it's less than 20% of the market. The new markets are MENA and APAC, right? Besides LATAM, but it's mostly what's happening in the Middle East and in Asia Pacific. So I think one opportunity for European founders is actually to look at Asia and Middle East as well, and not only the US. And we need to execute fast.
Thank you so much, Alex. Moving to you, Filipe. A lot of your work involves supporting international founders and bringing investment to Portugal. We want more investment here, but we don't want just any kind of money. We want smart money. What strengths should we double down on to attract that smart money to Portugal?
Well, one of the things that I keep hearing when talking with foreign investors and also successful founders who are looking to the Portuguese ecosystem is how pleasantly surprised they are with the collaborative mindset and spirit of this ecosystem. And I think one of the strengths is doubling down on the initiatives that Startup Portugal is doing to increase collaboration within the institutions, within the entities in the ecosystem, to help the founders scale and also to help attract that foreign investment to Portugal. And when we look at challenges, big challenges, such as helping founders scale the internationalization, creating solid ways and new pathways for these founders to scale and to attract investment. I think it's very important that there's a sharing of information within the institutions and the entities. So everyone working in the ecosystem, the entities and the founders, know what's available for them and how to collaborate. And then also in terms of public services, I would say that there's been a big investment in digital transformation, and Portuguese has been climbing in rankings in terms of doing business and government efficiency. But there's still a lot of frustration and comments in terms of backlogs and the time that things take to process, to incorporate a company, etc. So I would say that doubling down on that, and especially considering that we have this incredible opportunity when we think of all the advancements in technology and AI and the amazing talent that we have in universities, the founders, the incubators, we are in the right timing and in a perfect position to position ourselves in our country to be at the forefront of this digital transformation and creating efficient and quick ways to help founders build and scale. And then going back to what Manel was saying in terms of attracting foreign investment, I think Portugal has been very good recently in terms of communicating and positioning the country as an attractive ecosystem to attract foreign investment. But when we are thinking in terms of communication, I think we should also stop and consider how we are handling the communication in terms of the legislation, when there's changes in regulations and policies, how we are communicating that not only to the ecosystem, but also to foreign investors. Because of course, we put ourselves in the position of a foreign investor or a founder or a business owner looking into opening a subsidiary here. They don't know nothing about the market. So for them, it's very important that they feel safe in the investment that they are doing. And this means finding an environment that they feel will be stable and that will commit with the agreements done with investors. And I'm talking about, of course, immigration laws, taxation, regulations, other policies. And also in terms of kind of getting more private funding, because there's also a challenge and still a challenge of bringing more private capital to complement the already public funding available. We can see there's a very strong trend of foreign investors exiting founders already in Portugal and some looking at the Portuguese ecosystem. So I would say creating more initiatives and more ways to be effective and quick in a way of finding opportunities for them to collaborate, either by finding the opportunities for them to invest in the projects or even to mentor and share their expertise would be very beneficial, not only in terms of getting more funding, which of course we want, but also in terms of bringing that knowledge, different perspectives from other ecosystems, and especially now when we see there's founders, investors for the most advanced ecosystems, such as Silicon Valley, looking at the Portuguese ecosystem, taking advantage of that, I think would also mean they would bring their different mindsets, a lot less risk averse, and with a lot more ambition. So I would say also doubling down on those initiatives as well.
Thank you so much, Filipa. Now, moving to you, Adriana. Since incubators are often the first institutional support system for new founders, and we've heard today a lot about moving into specialization, into different kinds of support, do you think the needs of entrepreneurs will change? And how can incubators remain relevant and impactful for the evolving ecosystem, the faster and new ways of building startups?
We, like incubators, we support them from the beginning till they scale, till the internationalization stage. So for us, it's a big challenge, okay? So everything is going too fast, okay? So the needs of the startups right now are being adjusted So the access to knowledge nowadays, it's facilitated. Okay, so they must create and validate their solutions very quickly. And nowadays, like you're talking, the AI and the new technologies can help them to do that. Okay, to go much more quickly and to validate, but they need to be more close to industry. Okay, to knowledge, even to can validate in the industry and in the companies. They need more specialized knowledge, more specialized mentorship, okay, to become bigger. They need a stronger community, okay, with and we talked already that the founders of 10 years ago are nowadays the mentors, the advisors, and the investors of the new startups. They need specialized talent, okay, and we, like incubators, we need to adapt to to have more qualified teams to help them in this stage. Okay, so that's why we need to go to specialization. We need to focus on deep tech. We need to have more connections with universities. These things that I'm saying, we already do that. Okay, but the velocity of the challenges that the startups are facing will force us to work better and more with the stakeholders of the ecosystem. Okay, so the universities, we know we need to talk, we work more with universities, with the researchers, with the students, okay, to promote entrepreneurship, the access to industry. Nowadays, the startups, they look for incubators that they know that they can do pilots, that can help them in business development, that can help them the doors of the industries they want to achieve. Okay, so we need also to invest in good business development, in good partnership with our industries, our region, to help and to support the pilots and the MVP of our startups. And when we're talking also about specialization, okay, nowadays, I think that all the ecosystem is more linked, okay? All the regions in Portugal have their strategic areas of specialization, okay? And nowadays, incubators, science parks, universities, companies, we are working together with government and regional authorities to identify and to work more in the areas that we decided or our region decided to invest. Okay. And nowadays, the incubators are involved in these programs. There is a new program starting for the next 2 years where all the stakeholders will work to decide which will be the next area for the next years. Okay, so it's important to have all the community involved. Talking about community, we need to create that community. Okay, incubators also have this challenge to engage the community. And though we have many startups, we have industries, we have university, it's not easy to engage the community. After COVID, the relation between people has not been the same, okay? So nowadays we have many events, many things happening, but we need to focus more, to have more quality in the kind of events, networking, contacts with investors that we do to support our startups. Something that is also important is the infrastructure that exists and that will exist in our ecosystem. And these infrastructures can be from the government, from the university, from the science parks, but they will support, like Filippo was saying, the agility of the startups to go quickly and validate quickly their technologies. I give you an example. Tomorrow in the Science Park of Aveiro region, PCI, we will launch a digital factory, okay? This digital factory will have technology, will have a multimedia studio, XR, digital twins, cloud for AI, connectivity 5G, just to help startups from all over the country and foreign startups to pass to an exterior and to validate in a easier way, in a digital way, their products and their MVPs. Okay, I think it's something that will support all the Portuguese ecosystem. And like Aveiro has this speciality, Braga has another, Coimbra, Porto, and we must engage our startups. They can use all the infrastructures, all the stakeholders of the country and not only of their region to scale and to go internationally. Okay, so I think we should work more like we need to work together like a community and to serve all the startups of the country. Another challenge is the talent. Okay, so we are an incubator from a university, so we know that sometimes startups, even foreign startups, they want to come to our incubator because they know they are near the students and they think they can easily get access to human resources. But we do many events, we do many connections with students, with entrepreneurship, with summer entrepreneurship. We bring them to the ecosystem, and this is very important to do it with students from the university and to start doing it from the beginning, from the secondary schools, with municipalities, with the promoting entrepreneurship, STEAM areas in the young kids, okay, for us to have people working in these big startups and in this big ecosystem that we are creating.
Thank you so much, Adriana. I think it's time now to open up for one question from each venue. So we have a little time for a question, either from one question from here in Lisbon and one question from Porto. Who has a question? Who wants to fire one? We have one here in Lisbon. Can we have a microphone, please? Microphone is coming to you, ma'am. And in Porto, start thinking of your question. Think carefully.
Thank you.
Can you introduce yourself? Please stand up.
My name is Nadia. I would like to ask what we have in startup and in Portugal in general as a concrete plan or project to increase the participation of women in leaderships roles inside the ecosystem.
Who wants to go for that one?
If I can start answering that, there were programs in the past specifically for women, but there are also groups of women in tech and so on that promote female leadership. And there is, for instance, in Web Summit, there are special fees for entering the event for women. There are special events for promoting women entrepreneurs. But we still have a problem. We have much less entrepreneurs in the female population than in the male population. Why we have that? It's a difficult question. It's true that in a way, when you go for a degree of software engineers and so on, there's also more males than females, but a lot of the entrepreneurs coming from other areas as well. So we should promote more women in tech, and we should promote because it's a base of supply of talent that we cannot spare. We have so many good ideas coming from women than from men. So why we have so many founders that are men and not women? We have to keep on addressing that, but we have to address that also in provocative ways, in provoking women to stand up and to raise questions and to follow the leader. But we need to address that on the other extreme. I remember in one of the Web Summits to meet women in tech that came from San Francisco, and she had an algorithm for evaluating startups. And she said that in her algorithm, 40% of that she would pass the algorithm before meeting the people. 40% of the people that passed were women founders. And she just said that for the VCs that were in San Francisco, they tended to invest in guys that were just like them, guys that were in the 90 kilometers ray from San Francisco. So there was a lot of the investors identifying with the person. So what she was saying was that probably we need some things that go against that bias and to create more of that. I think promoting, giving visibility to women that are founders, and there are quite a few, and that are successful, it's also a good idea because it promotes the idea in the universities and so on and so on. But I think we have to do more in that area, or we will lose half of the talent, or we would not use quite well half of the talent, which is a shame.
Thank you.
And over in Porto, do we have a question now? Come on, don't be shy. You don't?
Hello, I wanted to ask you, when it comes to gaming, how do you go about choosing your investments? Because if it's another field, you might ask a professional or an expert, but when it comes to gaming, it's more different or particular. So I wanted to know your criteria or experience. Thank you.
Okay, maybe during the networking session, we can go into the weeds of that, but maybe let me just give some more color to the first question, and then I'll address yours. So Startup Portugal has developed several initiatives related to fostering more women in the tech and startup scene. We're actually going to announce more initiatives for next year, not only related to women, but to diversity in general. And we need to solve for example, in what is regarding the participation of women, as Manuel referred quite precisely. There's a big issue. So typically, we have only 20% of startups co-founded by women, and to reach the 20%, it's actually been quite hard, and we need to actually have a lot more. For example, in my fund, we invested a little bit over the 20% because we have a data-driven approach, and that took a lot of the biases that still exist in the ecosystem. So we saw a lot more companies that we wouldn't typically see if we didn't use data to that extent, where data helped actually take out of the equation some of the biases that we're not even aware that we have, right? And so I think that's a big issue that needs to be tackled, and hopefully we're going to announce more things in the coming future to that extent. At SIM, our conference that we're going to have in May, we're going to have again the participation of several groups that at a European level are fostering several initiatives to drive more investment into women-driven startups. They're going to be there again this year, promoting specific and focused funds to that extent. So more news and updates are going to be announced in the coming months in that regards. Regarding gaming, I'll give a short answer, and then we can take a beer and talk a little bit more about that. Me as an investor, I don't, there's two ways of investing in gaming. Either you make a wild bet into a team that is developing one game, and it's a binary bet. It's really hard to actually know the outcome of that game in specific. It's like investing in the movie industry. You never know, even if you have Leonardo DiCaprio in a movie, you don't know if the movie is going to be great or not, right? It can be a crap. It's like in gaming, right? If you invest in a project that is a single approach to developing a single game, you can have the best team behind it, a team that did great games before, and you're going to pour millions into it, and it might be a flop. So my approach and thesis to gaming is investing in platform plays. So companies and startups that are building more than one game and a different type of game, and actually a different way of launching several games. So that's what I bet as an investor in gaming.
I think Manuel wanted to just add something.
I wanted to add something
really fast.
Not to gaming, because I don't have much to say that, but to government. I think what we should demand from government is not just that simplifies the rules and so on, and I think in some areas it should make it easier for firms, not just for startups, but for firms in general. For startups, there is, in terms of regulation, a very good example in the financial sector, where we did the FinTech, the hub, the FinLab, which helped working with startups. We helped the startups to comply with the financial system rules, but it was people from the regulators that were working with startups and get a report, and this report will say that the firm, if it acts this way, it's going to be able to do this. I think we should be able to do that with the data supervisor, but the data supervisor is following European rules and Portuguese rules, and it has a big power, but very few staff, so it's difficult for them to have a more proactive response, but it's important that they have. But apart from that, what I think we should ask from government, it's also government as a client. In 2007, the countries, the 10 new countries that entered the European Union in 2004 were entering the Schengen space, and they were not entering the Schengen space. Why? Because they could not put it in the computer, the software that was able to read all the passports from these different countries, and they were not coherent with the passports from the European Union. There was a big mess. And the Portuguese government picked sort of a startup. It was Critical Software from Coimbra. And in 6 months built a system that identified all these things and made it possible for those countries to really enter the European Union without borders. German firms and the German presidency have said that, consulting the big firms, this was impossible. Today in Portugal, in some places, it takes ages for you to get a passport. Call a startup. Today in Portugal, admission to hospitals is a problem. Call a startup. We need to push this idea and push it. There's a lot of stupid problems in schools, organizing schools, the way schools communicate with parents. It's like 19th century. There's a lot of solutions with apps, solutions that are not very complicated, and the government should experiment and create opportunities for startups being the first client. This is very important, and a lot of things can come from here. And a lot of these things could come also from women, because in a lot of these areas, it's more likely that women entrepreneurs will come. One of the things with the areas as well is that we don't have as much startups coming out on the life sciences, where most of the PhD are female. And we have more startups coming from the software area, where most of the guys are. So there's also this kind of imbalances. But I don't want to go back to that. I want to get back to government. Government should make life simpler to startups, but should, as I was talking about big firms and medium-sized firms that should cooperate more in innovation with startups, government should cooperate more in startups, in hospitals, in public services, in schools, in a lot of areas where things are not working very well, and they could work much better with simple solutions and imaginative solutions, and imagination is what startups can bring to this equation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. What a note to finish this discussion. Thank you, Filipe, Adriana, Alex, and Manuel for sharing your insights with us today. Madalena, over to you in Porto.
Thank you very much, João. Thank you all for this amazing panel discussion. I think we've all learned so much. So a round of applause to these amazing guests and to our moderator. And before we go go to the networking, I would like to mention that we have gaming stations, so make sure to pass by them and play a little bit. And also, I would like to say that this wouldn't be possible without our partners, so I would like a round of applause for each one of them. I'll start with Investors Portugal, Ferroviário, 351 Portuguese Startup Community,
Come on, come on.
Porto City Council, Sograp, and Superboc Group. So thank you very much. See you next month. Now let's grab a drink.
Thank you.
Thank you all. It was a pleasure. Let's have a drink and connect.